Hello and welcome to Blackwood Engage Layout and what will probably be the last update for 2025. Since the last video update, which was probably about 6 weeks ago, there's not been a massive amount done on the layout, principally because I have been on holiday and I have actually been out of the country. And obviously if I'm out of the country I can't be working on the layout here. Nevertheless, I have made a little bit more progress. There is a little bit of new track work has appeared because I can now finally reveal the large empty area at the front of the side baseboard, exactly what's actually going to go in there. So without further ado, let's go and see what I've actually been up to over the last 5 or 6 weeks. So welcome to Blackwood Yard. The two sidings that I have put in on that large area of grey painted baseboard. So when the layout was being redesigned, my original thoughts were just simply to have some sort of an embankment probably running down to the track, but obviously as I have constructed the scenery from the foreground and from the tunnel entrance to the helix all the way around, there are some really good viewing angles where the tracks if you like merge from the station and obviously on the actual main line, so that junction in the distance there, if I just zoom in a little bit. So what I did not want to do was obscure all the viewing angles, so that ruled out putting any sort of sizable buildings. At the same time, if I put some sort of a hillside in, again I would not be able to get shots down at track level, so it had to be something that was basically, if you like, flat, and this is what I've come up with. So as you can see, it's just two very simple sidings going into what is going to be known as Blackwood Yard. At the same time, I've also been doing some other work since the last video. The hillside just behind the controller, that has now had the static grass put onto it. The last time you saw that, it was just painted brown. I have dug out a number of small buildings or facilities like oil tanks, etc., that were on the old layout, and I've started to kind of place them in Blackwood Yard. They're not going to obscure anything, but it'll sort of lend some authority, if you like, to the fact that it is just some sort of general purpose yard. I don't want it as a quarry terminal or as a network rail yard. While you may see some of these wagons in here from time to time, it is really just a very general purpose. I've also put up another 3 overhead catenary masts coming in towards the station. The signal box, I have now got its actual location, and just at the back of the signal box, if I zoom in, I have actually got a small electricity substation, which I'm hoping to maybe get some wires to actually take up to the catenary mast there, so it looks as though that's powering into the actual overhead catenaries. Again, as I say, at the back there you'll see there's some small oil tanks, so these all still have to get placed. There's cable drums, there's pipes of various descriptions, so they need just to be dotted round about the yard. There's lengths of rail. These are all these things that you kind of see. Obviously it's got to be ballasted. I have a picture in my head of how I want this to turn out. You're probably not going to maybe see a lot of the sleepers. These yards tend to have just the rails kind of sticking out, so you may see some sleepers, but a lot of the sleepers will probably be covered in sort of dirty ballast or sort of hard earth, if you like, I have a picture, as I say, in my head, but whether or not I can bring that to fruition is another matter. So if I just come back out, as you see, it comes in from underneath the road bridge there, the Bagshaw's road bridge, and what I'll do is I'll take you round the other side so you can see it from there. Now this is actually a bit of the layout I don't think I've actually ever filmed. When the layout was in the house, there were 3 storage lines at the back of Blackwood Station, and when the layout came back out here, the 3 lines were never ever used. They just lay dormant, and they were just actually a place where I'd dumped stuff on top of. When I came to remodel Blackwood Station, I reduced the 3 lines down to 2, so I removed the point roughly where that Freightliner 66 is sitting, and then all I simply did was I extended these 2 lines through the scenic brake, which you can just see the back of there, and it came out to the actual main layout. The 2 tracks then just went right underneath that blue overbridge, and they actually just came to a dead end just on the other side of it. I never ever gave it any thought as to how I was going to actually model these tracks in. So as I said on the previous clip, I've actually simply curved the 2 tracks round to bring them into Blackwood Yard. In order to do that, I have had to put a very, very small fillet of baseboard in, which is the curved section there. Doesn't affect me getting into any other bits of layout. It's absolutely tiny. It's only at the very widest part, it's only about 3 inches actually wide, but it allows the 2 tracks to come round. So from the other side, you can see I've also put in a set of crossovers. Those are just code 55 short radius points, and that's simply just to allow trains to run round, so they can come in where the 66 is, they can uncouple off scene, they can run across the crossing, and then they can run back out past their wagons, and then they can obviously shunt the wagons into the yard. The road access to this small industrial complex, obviously I had to remove that temporarily, because in order to curve the tracks round I actually did have to move them very slightly. So all the bits and pieces have gone in, with the exception of this bit here. There is actually a gap here, so I actually need to remake that, but that's the only bit that I have to remake, and that shouldn't take me too long. Again, I've put in some cable trunking. I had some West Hill Wagon Works, these were the last bits of their cable trunking that I had, so I've glued them in, and obviously put in the ubiquitous relay cabins, etc. Against the wall. I've also put in a point lever there. These points, although they're code 55, they are not wired up, because they are basically at the end of 2 sidings. While I still have to have put in, or did put in, plastic fish plates, they actually work absolutely fine. You don't get any short circuits or anything, and obviously they're not going to be electrically powered. I will just move them by hand. One point is technically off scene, and that just leaves this point here, which is on scene, and it's right beside where I'm standing, so it's easy enough for me to flick the point over. The only bit of wiring that I actually had to do is the pint wire, and that was to give some power from this outside rail to this outside rail, because obviously of the plastic fish plates. I have also put the RAC van in with the orange flashing lights. I've installed that onto the road bridge, and you'll see from this back end of the road bridge there is actually still a bit an open gap here. That will actually be an access road. The pavement here will be cut and removed, and I will slope an access road down. There's plenty of room to get it to come down to roughly where the signal box is, and that will be the access road obviously for the signal box and for the yard in general. And the other thing which I've also been putting up is the ubiquitous palisade fencing. Whether I mentioned that in an earlier clip I can't remember, but that is the Pico palisade fencing, and it's actually quite tricky to do, because if you're not careful, if you don't get drill the holes in the exact spacing, then the fence can actually look a bit wobbly. It doesn't look correct. So I did actually have to have a couple of goes in actually putting that fencing up. It comes in lengths which you can glue together, and that's fine. I found 3 lengths of glued together is probably about the maximum you can actually use or work with at any given time. But it did actually take me quite an age to put the palisade fencing up. As you can see, I've made a small compound there for the sort of electricity substation, and it ends at the moment just at the side of the signal box. There's still more palisade fencing to carry on down there, but I think what I need to do first of all is to in actual fact build that access road from the road bridge back the way, and then once I've got that in, then that will actually determine where the rest of the palisade fencing is. And once that is actually done, that will actually be this rebuild of this side of the layout complete, because there will be no more scenic work to be done, and that will actually only leave as I come round here, and excuse the mess that you're going to see on the top of the inside fiddle yard. It will really just actually leave the back area of the layout, which I'm trying to get a shot of just now. It's really that back area there that still has got a little bit of work on it, but then as you come along you can see we rejoin the scenery back there, so there's a very, very short bit that's to be done. That being said, I think I said in the last video, there is a little bit of track rationalisation going to be carried out over here. There are some points that need to be removed as they're no longer in use, and similarly at this end of the upper fiddle yard, likewise there are going to be some points removed. One point in particular, I can't actually see it, it's almost impossible to see it, and there's one other point which can be removed because it's become seized. I can't move it under power. The only way I can move it is to actually go underneath the baseboard and move it by hand, which is not terribly good. So that's essentially what I have been doing over the past 6 odd weeks. As I say, I've been away for a good number of weeks out of the country, so that's why it's not total completion here. So it'll probably be the early part of the new year that this area here will become complete. So without further ado, I think we will get some trains running, and we might even see if we can drive a train into, or shunt a train into Blackwood Yard. So as I said before, this is probably the last update before Christmas, so I hope everyone has a good Christmas, and I will catch everyone early in the new year. Bye for now.